Welcome to the Living the Dream podcast with Curveball. If you believe, you can achieve. Welcome to the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast, a show where I interview guests that teach, motivate, and inspire. Today, I am joined by children's book author, educator, and publisher, John Chanaca. John is the founder of MJ Chanaka Publishing, LLC, and it is a family publishing company that focuses on publishing heartwarming and positive family stories. So we're going to be talking to him about everything that he's up to and what he's going to be up to coming next and about his books. So, John, thank you so much for joining me today.
I appreciate it, Curtis. Thanks so much for having me on and for hosting this wonderful podcast.
Absolutely. Why don't you start off by telling everybody a little bit about yourself?
Good. I'm retired, and I am married to a wonderful young lady. 55 years we've been married, and we have 2 sons and 3 grandchildren. Retired from 42 years in the public schools, taught kindergarten all the way through 8th grade. And we did a lot of other teaching. We had a martial arts school for 20 years, had over 700 students. So we have lots of experiences with children and parents. And my wife was an elementary school teacher also, so she's got her tales and expertise and information. And we have enjoyed this we'll call it this new journey, okay? I know your program focuses on motivation and telling about passions people have and so on. And we've started a publishing company about 2.5 years ago in our retirement. So we're having lots of fun with that, Curtis.
Well, speaking of your publishing company, first of all, tell us what inspired you to actually start writing about all the experiences you and your wife have and what it inspired you to start the publishing company.
Good. Very good question. We were, as I said, retired about 12 years ago. And we were doing the things that people like to do in retirement. We were traveling, enjoying our grandchildren, enjoying our children. We built a new house, that was a project. And so about 5 years ago, my wife's mother, she's 91 years old, and we found out that she could not take care of herself. She lived in Pennsylvania. Half the time she used to come down and live with us. Her husband had passed away around 35 years ago when she was 60 or so. And so she would spend the winters with us and then the summers back up in Pennsylvania. We're located in South Carolina. And that was always nice. But when she got to be 91, we found out she just couldn't, live by herself. So she came down to live with us. And so that changed everything for us, changed our routine and all the rest. She's a lovely lady. She's the sweetest woman you ever want to meet, Curtis. And while she was with us, of course, she's in her 90s. She started to have problems with memory and walking. And so for the last 3 years, she's been wheelchair bound and has Lewy body dementia. And this was during the COVID time she started to experience these problems. And while she was with us during that time, we had time during the day. Obviously, we're 24/7 with her. No, we're not leaving her alone, and we're not going on any trips. We're not doing anything. So we're enjoying her, of course, but she would take these naps in the morning, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. They were quite long. And we got thinking, gee, we have so many wonderful stories of our children growing up and things they encountered and adventures they had. And lessons they learned that were both ethical and moral lessons. And we thought, why don't we write some of these things down in stories, storybooks? And that would be a legacy. There would be wonderful stories for us to keep, for our children and grandchildren. We're using their names and everything else, or their names would be in the books, and they could share them later with their families. And so we started writing and being involved with publishing. We knew nothing about it to start. So nothing about ISBN numbers and formatting books and how to publish and get on KDP, Amazon, and publish with Ingram Spark and hire illustrators and deal with Fiverr and on and on and on it goes. So it was an adventure for us. It was exciting, you can imagine. And did our first book. Actually, our son Joel is part of our team, and he wrote the book. It was a story he had written quite a while ago about one of the cats that we had. It was called Patches the Cat is a Thief. And this particular book was beautifully illustrated, had a wonderful story and everything else. And so we got started on that note. And we just fell in love with it and had a lot of fun with it, a lot of laughs, and the family really enjoyed it. So we just continued. So that's how we got started. And we have over 12 books published now, and we're going into a parenting series. We have a cyber warrior series, and we also have a Christian sci-fi series where Joel has done a job with a character that is just so exciting and so on. And Frogman Puck is the name of it. And we're just having a lot of fun with all of this. It's just been a blast for us. So that's how we got started.
Well, it definitely sounds like you are having fun. Tell us about the family value book series. Talk about the
Yeah.
themes that this series explores.
Yeah. We found out that as we were writing these, we wanted it, to teach a lesson besides being entertaining and um, beautifully illustrated. We wanted to make sure that it was teaching moral and ethical values, family values, if you will. And all the stories centered around caring and sharing, and love, kindness, patience, various lessons that the boys took out of raising these animals and the various adventures they got into. And some of them are quite humorous. They're just really funny as we got back and started to look seriously at all these books. So um, we have one called Hunter, the English Center, another one, The Kitty Named Cricket. One is called Annie's Flutterflies, another one, Babe, Our Floppy-Eared Bunny, and then Where'd the Moon Go was another one. Um, what we did was they were getting so successful with that, we actually put the first four books that we did into a series, a collection called Humor and Heart, a family values storybook collection. And we made it an 8.5 by 11. Normally our books are 8.5 by 8.5. We made this particular book 8.5 by 11, and this is in 2024 last year, just a couple months ago, it won the Global Book Award for children's literature. And then just a week ago, we found out one of Joel's books called Hunter, the English Setter, had won the Bronze Award. So we're winning awards with some of these books, having a lot of fun building them, and meeting some tremendously interesting people like yourself on podcasts and bookstores and book fairs. And we even have a authors group here in the Myrtle Beach area that 25 or so authors that meet a couple times a week or a couple times a month and share what they're building and what they're making. So all of this has been exciting and just really fulfilling. Sure has.
Let's take a quick break. Okay, everybody, it's Michael E. Cullen II.
And I'm Sesame and Carta from the All Too Real 2 podcast. We're passionate about movies, TV, and pretty much all things pop culture.
Dive into the chaos of failed sitcoms, direct-to-video sequels, and the quirky realms of cinema and TV.
Join us every Thursday for your dose of All Too Real 2 entertainment.
We'll guide you through debates like whether Howard the Duck qualifies as a superhero.
Ponder if Larry the Cable Guy could be the new Rock or Schwarzenegger.
Discover if some shows and movies should have stayed in the cutting room.
Ever heard of a sitcom featuring that dictator with the funny mustache? Well, we watched it.
We're dedicated to unraveling the peculiarities of pop culture, sometimes with awesome guests.
So, if you're into the eccentric world of pop culture,
listen and subscribe to All Too Real 2.
Available wherever you find podcasts
and on Age of Radio.
Talk about how your extensive background in counseling and education influences your writing, like your themes and all that good stuff.
Right. You can draw so many different experiences of people that we've met and so on. You can imagine 42 years in the public schools, how many children I've seen. And the last 25, I was a counselor. I wasn't always a teacher. So for 17 years, I was in the classroom. And then for the last 25, I was in a elementary counseling position. And, a school's got 500 kids or so, 600 are the ones that we were involved in. And you can imagine over 25 years how many children would go through the school, thousands. So meeting those kinds of situations, especially in counseling where there's a lot of difficult situations, plus working with teachers and lots of parents. We had a Christian marriage and family practice that I used to do in the summer times when I wasn't working as an educator, and gleaned and learned a lot of things from various parents that would share parenting concerns and parenting problems. And then again, back to your question, certainly learning in the elementary school and in the middle grades, because I did teach 6th, 7th, and 8th, you got a feeling for the kind of literature and books, various books, authors, the kinds of things kids were reading. And so that certainly helped us in working with this publishing company. We have started a series of books on parenting, which is kind of interesting, kind of an offshoot. I've produced 3 books. They're small. They're small, called A Survival Guide for Parents, Part 1, 2, and 3. And it gave me a good foundation to come up with. I'm going to put all these 3 books together, and we're going to be producing a book and a course and a book called Power Parenting. So that would be coming somewhere in 2025, maybe 2026. And it's going to combine everything that I have in those 3 books and a lot of new stuff to talk about power parenting. And what it is they're kind of a survival guide for parents to nurture successful students in the modern world today. I'm going at it from a different angle. It's a guide for parents to be able to reach their children to become better students. And it's kind of exciting, and enjoy talking about it and moving into that area. So that all has helped us a lot.
Well, you got your flagship, the Super Student Series. So, kind of tell us what inspired you to create that. Tell us about it, and what do students take away from it?
It's interesting you mentioned that, and thank you very much. When I was in education during those 42 years, the last, I guess the last 15 or 20 years, I was fortunate enough to get a Fulbright scholarship to Japan, and during that time, it was 2 months in Japan free. They picked two educators from every state, so we had 100 educators that visit Japan, paid for by the Japanese government, and they just roll out the red carpet and take you to all the elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, universities, businesses, and so on to give you exposure to the Japanese culture. And during that time, I was very interested in what makes a good student. And of course, Japan was a great place to go. There's a lot of places that produce great students. We produce great students here in America, but I'd like to see more of them produced in America. So um, I had a chance to talk a lot to educators there and watch students there. And so after that trip, put together a program called Super Student. And actually, I wrote the program, but I didn't publish it myself. Okay, I used Youth Light Incorporated, which is the largest producer of guidance materials today. And I had produced a program there called Peer Pals before this, which was a kind of a mentoring big brother, big sister program for older elementary school kids to go and help younger kids during their free time, like recess, lunch, break times, and whatever, to become big brothers and big sisters. They would read to them, do math. They would get to know them. They would become just mentors to them. That was a wonderful thing. But this whole idea of teacher and mentor has always intrigued me a lot. And then perhaps because we had the martial arts school, which is a great emphasis upon between the student and the teacher. It's an earmark of Oriental culture. Um, for one, there's other cultures that have prized that, but that whole idea just fascinates me. And what is the dynamics? What between a student and a teacher? What makes a good student? What things do good students focus on? What's the key? What are their tricks or their tips? What do they do? So writing that super student program, which really was a guide for teachers, by the way, it was supposed to be used in the schools, and it was. We sold it all across the United States. It was a way for teachers to help their students become better students. This program that we're doing for parents called Power Parenting is a different approach. It's what can parents do to nurture their children to become super students. So you see the different angle, Curtis? You see how we're thinking in a different way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you got to have all these pieces kind of fit together and so on. So I just love the idea of parenting. We loved parenting our children and working with our grandchildren. And there's so many people out there, of course, your children are your legacy. Let me ask you, are you married, Curtis?
I am not married, but I do have two kids.
Okay. So you know what I'm talking about then. If you have children, what are
Yes.
their ages? How old are they?
My son is 12 and my daughter will be 9 in March.
Oh, that's a beautiful age right there. That's beautiful.
Yes,
Right before the teenage years.
absolutely.
Yeah.
He'll actually be
Uh,
13 in October.
oh, there you go. You know what Mark Twain said about teenagers, don't you? Do you know his little quip on that?
No, what did he say?
Well, he said, when your child gets to be 12 years old, you're getting close to that danger age, and what you need to do is put them in a barrel and feed them through a knothole. And then when they get to be 13, you need to block up the knothole.
Saying that.
He was being facetious, of course, but it's a challenging time as they're growing up, becoming young, and they're trying to be their own person and so on. But that 9-year-old, I bet you that's exciting. Is it boys or girls? Did you say
I have one of each.
one of each? So the 9-year-old is what?
A girl.
A girl. Okay, so you
Yes,
got the
sir.
boy. Okay, you'd
Kiara
be a
and Daniel.
little safer. The names again are
Kiara and Daniel.
Kiera and Daniel. Okay, very good. Um, so to get back to talking about children and super students. Well, you know how important then school is for them. Okay, do your children like school?
I know my son does. I don't know that my daughter necessarily does, but I really didn't like it at first when I was going as a
Yeah.
kid either.
Okay. And everyone's different, with their likes and depending on the teachers you have, the school you have, your likes, your interests, and so on. And schools can definitely get more exciting. They need to be, really dynamic and involved and personal. So everyone's situation's a little bit different, but there are certain things that good students know what to do. Okay, they know how to attack school, if you will. And school is important to kids. I mean, because it's what they do. I mean, it's their job. You have an occupation, you have a job, you want to do well at it. Parents usually get up in the morning, they go to work, they all day long. Some people hate their jobs, okay? They would like to change their jobs. And kids have the same kind of feeling, and good students have learned how to squeeze the best stuff out of school. They know what to ask, they know how to act, they know what to do that makes them successful. And this is a funny thing about success. Um, Once you're into success, kind of a flow of it, it just feeds on itself. Now you're going to have setbacks. You can learn a lot more from failures and mistakes than you sometimes can learn from success, by the way. But if you are successful and you feel good about what you're doing and contributing, and you feel like you have control over the situation and you're mastering certain things, okay, and in a kid's case, mastering math or reading or spelling and feeling on top of what they're doing. They feel like they're wanted and valued. Their opinions are important. And a teacher, of course, is part of that dynamics, and so is the parent. But once you feel good about school and learning and so on, it becomes part of your internal kind of motivation, passion, if you will. Okay. So, school's not the only place to learn, obviously. You know a lot about doing this, okay, podcasting. Maybe you're involved in some other things too. Um, Whatever you're passionate about, it shows. It shows. And your program's all about motivation and being excited and passionate about things. But kids need to be passionate about learning. And learning is very important. And I don't care where you're learning, but you need to be passionate about something. And we all have gifts. You don't have to be an engineer, you don't have to be a doctor, you don't have to be a lawyer. That's not what makes a good student. Do you know what makes a good student, Curtis?
I think it's somebody, who's always open-minded and willing to learn and to take the steps necessary to succeed.
Exactly. In short, it's all about attitude, your attitude, which is, by the way, the only thing you really can control. Did you know that?
Yep, they say your attitude determines your altitude, and
There you go. There you go. Let me read you something from one of my books. It's a quote from Charles Swindoll, if I can
go
do
ahead.
that.
Yeah, go
Would that be
ahead.
all right?
Yes, sir.
Charles Swindoll is probably one of the best Christian writers. He's over 200 books. He was a minister, just a wonderful, wonderful speaker. And he gives some real great information here. I have it actually in the foreword of one of our books here, parenting books. He says, "The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It's more important than past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than successes. It's what other people think or say or do. It is more important than appearance, than giftedness or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude that we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past, We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play on the one string we have, and that's our attitude. I'm convinced that life is 10% of what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes. What do you think of that?
I think that is true.
Now
Think
you
that
know
is
why some of
absolutely
your
true.
guests that I've seen some of your podcasts, they're wonderful. Some of your guests that come on from difficult situations. They go through unsurmountable uh, difficulties. If you look closely, you'll see it's their attitude. They're always looking at that glass being half full, not half empty. They're always looking at things of how to get through uh, in a happy, positive way that's going to benefit others and in turn benefit themselves. So there's a secret right there that I'm trying to master. I'm trying to take Charles Swindoll's statement here and try to turn it into action. And I'm trying to. It doesn't work 100% of the time, by the way. I mean, you're not gonna have the greatest attitude 100% of the time. But if you can do that more and more each day, a little bit better, and keep that positive attitude. Think about those good things. Think about those things that are positive. Think of the things that are beautiful. Think about things that are of good report. If you can be thinking about things that are wholesome, that are edifying, I think you'll feel different about yourself. And so it is with children when they are in school. Making lemonade out of lemons, I guess you would say. What you think of it?
That's right. That's what you have to do in life.
Yeah, it's difficult though, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
It's not something simple. You have to really be focused on what you're doing. And it's just kind of looking at the good thing, breathing, walking, eating, thinking, being able to get around during the day. One thing my mother-in-law taught me so much when watching her, and she's a lovely, lovely lady, is that she's always so thankful for the little things. So just the small things, looking outside and just talk about the flowers or the birds that may be eating at the feeder. Uh, just looking at something. Here she is in a wheelchair. She's got memory problems. She's got difficulties, health difficulties, and she's trying to be looking at the positive side all the time. So Jane and I, for example, we had to restructure what we did. I mean, here we are, retired and everything else, traveling, enjoying it. And my mother-in-law comes to live with us. I could have taken a bitter attitude, but to be honest with you, it was better to look at this time at what can I learn from my mother-in-law? How can we do something here at the home with the publishing? And you see, there was ways to improve our situation and to enjoy every day that we had in a positive way. That doesn't mean every single day it is like that. No, but if you find you're gaining this way by controlling your attitude, looking at the positive side, it will just help make you happier. Makes you happier.
Well, let's talk about your cyber series. Your warrior series. I'm a
Love it.
cybersecurity analyst, and I know how important it is. So, kind of tell us about that.
Yeah, for cyber warriors, what we did was we got an idea from a communication company, and we're open to dealing with any communication company that are dealing with the internet, and they were very interested in the children's books we were doing. And so they asked us to get together and they said, would you be interested in doing something about cyberbullying, cyber safety, for children, elementary kids? And we said we would love to do that, love to look at that. So we did our research and so on, and this is an important area for sure. Um, do your kids have cell phones? Do they use cell phones?
My daughter has a Wi-Fi phone, and
Hmm.
my son does not have one, but he has a Kindle.
Okay. How do they use them? Do you see them using them, and are you concerned about it?
Yeah, I really did not want my daughter to get an iPhone because, she gets on YouTube and gets plays her games and stuff like that. And I
Right.
just kind of felt like, she's just too young. That's my opinion.
Yeah. And some of the schools, especially the schools, which I'm glad they are doing this. Parents, I see some parents are really concerned, but here in South Carolina, and I think other states are following suit. You're in what state, Curtis? You're in the middle of the country, aren't you?
Kansas.
Oh, Kansas. Okay.
Yeah, Wichita,
Uh,
Kansas.
do your schools have any restrictions on cell phones?
They have started to ban them in some of the private schools and stuff like that, or not ban them, but say you have to put them up during the day in like a lock bag or something.
Exactly. And Pennsylvania or South Carolina, the whole state is like that now. Okay. So every school in South Carolina, you can't use your cell phone. A teacher's teaching, you're in the class, math, whatever it might be. You can't take your cell phone out and start using it or message or use the phone. You have to put it up. It has to be turned off when you come into school, and when you leave or at the end of the day, you can turn it back on, unless there's an emergency. Now they've got some little emergency kinds of things going on, and they're not going to let a kid suffer with an emergency or anything like that. But uh, you can imagine how annoying that would be. Can you imagine being a teacher in front of a classroom and you've got 30 people there and, you know, 28 of them have their cell phones out while you're teaching? Can you imagine what that would be like?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm
It'd
sure it's pretty annoying.
be crazy, right? It'd be almost
Absolutely.
ridiculous. So, educators are definitely, like when I'm teaching a lesson, I'm talking to you and I expect you to be listening. I want you to be listening. You need to be listening. That's what you're here for. And, so there's a time to use a computer and to research and do this and that. And there's a time to talk to your friends and all that kind of stuff. But it's not really in the classroom when math, reading, or science, or one of the classrooms are supposed to be done. So they have restrictions on them. However, kids are going to use cell phones. Children are going to use them, and they need to know something about cyberbullying. They need to know something about cyber safety. They need to know about going into certain social media platforms and so on and giving their name, address, phone number, getting on. There's all kinds of weirdos and crazy situations, predators out there that are willing to, meet up, make all kinds of dates, say all kinds of things, share all kinds of stuff. And they need to be aware of that. And of course, parents need to be monitoring and be involved with that too. But some kids are oblivious to it, what they do, the information they put in, and so on. So this book is an attempt to just start. We have a series that will be going on this, God willing, and it's a start to break into it. And one of our local internet companies would like to use the material, for their customers and such to kind of as a good service and PR effort to be able to just let parents know that there are various rules and various things kids can do to protect themselves on the internet. So it's a start, it's just the beginning kind of a thing. But we're really excited about possibly where that will go and how much fun we can have with that. So that just gives you a little brief overview of that.
Appreciate it. Well,
Sure.
let's close it out here. Tell us about any upcoming projects that you're working on. I know you mentioned one, but let us know about what you're working on that we need to know about.
Sure. We've already mentioned, of course, the power parenting and the course. The book will come out and the course, hopefully during this year. My son Joel has got Frogman Puck coming out, which is a Christian sci-fi, kind of an environmental, save the world kind of a thing with all kinds of exciting characters. And we've gotten into using AI now, which is kind of exciting, with illustrations. And he's getting very good on Midjourney and Leonardo and OpenAI and various other instruments. And that book is just tremendous. We have the Cyber Warriors, as we've talked about. He also has a book about game wardens, wild defenders. My son Joel is actually a game warden, and he wanted to pay tribute to the work that they do. So he has a book out on that. And then we also have a book called Scout, which is another one of our animal stories with our grandchildren, and that'll be a fun book that'll be coming out. So those 4 books are major projects that we are doing. I want to let your listeners know too, by the way, that signing up on our website, we give out our books 4 times a year, free ebooks. We have 12 of them, and then all the parenting series and so on. But we give them free. They have 5 days. We have 5 days every quarter, every 3 months to give away books. And if they sign up at our website, they can be part of our membership, part of our family, our launch team, and receive these books free. In addition to that, anyone on your podcast today, I will give you a copy of a survival guide for parents, part 1, and that will be free to them. We'll just send it to them. I can send it in flipbook and also a kind of ebook style from Canva. And this will be a gift for them. All they have to do is click on the link and they have the book. So would that work, Curtis, for your listeners?
Absolutely. And now that you're talking about it, that was the next question. Go ahead and throw out your contact info so they can get that free book.
Yeah, which would be great, But again, we're at www. MJ Chanaka Publishing, which is MJChanacaPublishing.com. And you probably have that in the show notes and everything. And that's for the sign up.
We'll put it in the show notes.
That'd be great. And then I will either send you, the links for the survival guide. You can put it in the show notes, and then it'll be a free book and a nice introduction to survival guide for parents nurturing their children to be successful students. Absolutely. So those are the projects that we have planned right now.
We'll close this out with some. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, close this out with some final thoughts. Maybe if that was something I forgot to talk about that you would like to touch on, or any final thoughts.
Yeah. One thing I would like to touch on real briefly, if I can, if I have a minute, is parenting. Parenting is a very important thing. And you said you were a parent. You have the 2 children, and so many of your listeners do. And I want to compare it really to 2 sports. Okay. Parenting is not like ice skating competitions. Have you ever seen those beautiful ice skating competitions?
Absolutely. We just had the figure skaters come to Wichita last week.
Wichita, I saw that one. That's right. Where the men's that one boy, Ilya, is that his name? Yeah.
Yeah.
He won the championship for the men, the nationals.
Yeah.
It's not, as parenting is not like ice skating. Okay. Ice skating, if you fall down once or you fall down twice, you're finished. That's it. The game is over. Okay. You're done. it's parenting is more like golf. Okay, I love golf, and it's really a lot like this. You're going to make mistakes in parenting. Okay, that's all there is to it. And you probably could attest to this. You're going to say the wrong thing. You're going to do the wrong thing. You're going to make the wrong decision. But I don't know if you have ever played golf. Have you, Curtis?
Not very good at it, but I have though.
Okay, and you probably know what it's like.
Yeah.
In golf, which again I love to play, uh, in golf you get many chances. Okay, many chances. You're on the first hole. There's 18 holes, but you're on the first hole, and you hit the ball and it goes in the woods. That's okay. It's a mistake, but you can go down by the woods and put the ball out into the fairway and hit it again. This time maybe you put it on the green. Maybe not. Maybe you put it in a sand trap. Wherever, you're still getting chances. You can hit it again and put it on. Maybe that hole you didn't do very well. Maybe you got a 6 or 7 or an 8 on that first hole. It was a par 4. But you've got the next hole. Number 2, you get to try again. And that's the way parenting is, Curtis. It's make a mistake, learn from the mistake, say you're sorry, try it again. Go to the next hole. That's what parenting is like. I'm so glad that parenting is not like ice skating, where you fall, you make a mistake, and you can never go back and change it. It's done, you're finished. So that would be one of my last thoughts, is that stick in there with the parenting, study, look at people that have been married and have been successful. They raising good kids, they raising wholesome children and so on. See what's going on. Study about how to be a parent, because it doesn't come with a book. Okay, it doesn't. When you're married and you have children and so on, that baby doesn't come at the hospital or wherever you had the baby with a little handbook about how to raise that kid. You have to be observant. You have to see what's right, what's wholesome, and then you'll make mistakes, learn from those mistakes, and keep moving forward. Okay. We'd like to help you with our series, and maybe you can get some information through the books that we have, but there's many sources out there that have good, wholesome answers for parents. And that would be the last thing I would leave you with, okay?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, to get that free ebook, please visit MJ Chanaka Publishing.com. Link will be in the show notes. Follow, rate, review. Share this episode to as many people as possible. Jump on your favorite podcast app, follow the show, check us out, share it, leave us a review. If you have any guest or suggestion topics, Curtis Jackson 1978 at att.net is the place to send them. As always, thank you for listening and supporting the show. And John, thank you for all that you and your family do to make the world a better place. And thank you for joining me.
Appreciate you, Curtis. God bless you.
For more information on the Living the Dream podcast, visit www.djcurveball.com. Until next time, stay focused on living the dream.